Hello everyone, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back. I do apologize for a slight lack of uploading the past couple weeks, but today we are back, and what great timing as well, because we have Invest 90E in the Pacific Ocean to talk about, and I cannot wait to get right into it. So let's get on with today's video. But before we do, be sure for the YouTube algorithm, be sure to like and subscribe. It would really make my day. And without further ado, let's continue. So Invest 90E. Now, obviously, since the Invest has the E at the end of it, that does mean it's in the Pacific Basin, not the Atlantic Basin. All right, and it's not expected to affect any major areas of land like the mainland of Mexico, but it still could produce some big waves. But it's still a big deal, all right, that this is developing because, I mean, obviously, it is May, and the season for the Pacific hurricane season officially starts May 15th. So it's not too abnormal to see activity around this time. Currently, sustained winds are 25 knots, which means about 30 miles per hour. Minimum central pressure is 1,008. It's been holding pretty steady at that the past couple of scans that we've seen, or the past couple of updates. And you can see it here on the satellite imagery. There has been a pretty big blow up of thunderstorms, even like near the center and even to the south of the center. All right, but also there is a little bit of shear coming in from this direction. All right, and you can see that's been pushing some of the activity all the way up here. You can even see a little second area of rotation, all right, within that. So there's been a little bit of shear that's kind of been interfering with it a little bit, if you will. All right, but there is still a pretty high chance of it developing. As a matter of fact, if we look at the National Hurricane Center, let me refresh this just to be sure. Yeah, still at 70% chance of development. They're at a high development here, high development chance as of 2:20 Pacific time. So satellite images indicate that showers and storms associated with this low pressure system. All right, again, this is several hundred miles away from Mexico, but it's showing signs of organization. And I think, my opinion, and as you'll see from the models as well, I think Sunday or Monday is when we're gonna see like their best chance of development between now, Sunday, or maybe even very early Monday. By midweek, things will become less favorable. So as you can see by National Hurricane Center, conditions are conducive for further development over the next day or so, and a short-lived depression or storm. Remember, when it says 70% chance of development, that means a 70% chance that it could become a depression or a storm. It doesn't have to be a tropical storm, all right? This also means a 70% chance of a tropical depression. So don't say, so if this doesn't become a tropical storm, don't be like, oh, well, you were wrong, National Hurricane Center. Not necessarily true. All right, the chances, just for future reference, the percentage chances are for it to become a depression or a storm, not always a tropical storm. All right, so again, next 2 days is when the highest development chances are going to be expected as it moves in that west to northwestward direction. All right, so if we look at the current low positioning, the coordinates here about 106.5 degrees west and about 13 degrees north. Those are your longitude and latitude coordinates. As you can see by the latest model tracking guidance, it's pretty much over the next 24 hours, it's going to be moving in like a northwest direction. Some of the Pacific Islands here could be affected long term, but that's after 72 to 96 hours. And I think that the storm will be a lot weaker by then anyway. Like I said, it's going to be at its strongest around this zone right here. All right, and I'm going to talk to you in this video. I'm going to be talking to you why I believe that. So looking at the Gfs model tracks, here's some more model tracks just to refresh, just to be sure. Even though I did just set this up, but as you can see, the models are pretty much agreeing. There are a couple models that say the pressure could go below 1,005 millibars, and I think that's definitely the case. If it were to become a depression or a storm, I just don't think it's going to take a whole 2 days for that to happen. Right? Like I think it's going to happen within the next 24 hours or within the next 36 hours if it does at all. All right, and some of the GEPS model tracks, again, sort of the same thing. If we look at the intensity guidance, most models have it becoming a tropical depression sort of in this region, in this time zone in the next 24 to 36 hours, but none of them have it becoming a tropical storm yet. None of the models have really indicated that as of right now. So if we look at the sea surface temperature anomalies, if you look at the right side of your screen, you'll see where the storm is now. So it's in a little pocket of above average waters. And again, remember, the current position was 13 degrees north. So it's probably sitting right about maybe closer to up here, right? And as it moves northwestward, it's going to start to move away from the warmer waters, and eventually over the next few days, it'll eventually make its way into some average to slightly below average waters, meaning less conducive. But right now, it is in a little pocket off the coast of Mexico that the sea surface temperatures are not overwhelmingly above, but slightly above average, and that's helping its development chances a little bit. But if you look at the sea surface temperature, not the anomalies, but the trends over the past 7 days, meaning from like May 1st till now, you can sort of see that it's remained the same, the sea surface temperatures. If not, maybe they cooled off a little bit. But they pretty much either cooled off or remain the same. But the anomaly still says it's above average, and that's what matters here. All right, so we're going to be going through some models here. First, hopefully we'll be going through at least 2 or 3. First model we're starting off with is the GFS, all right? And we got some other ones lined up as well. So GFS model, as you can see, we're going to start with the precipitation loop, and then we got a bunch of other maps as well. All right, so you can see the low, I mean, again, early Monday morning, all right, you can see 1,003 millibars, and we got some reds, meaning some, on the northeast side of that storm, there is a little pocket of heavier precipitation. All right, right off, and it's pretty close to Mexico at this point, may I mention, by the way. All right, I mean, the lows right here. Mexico is kind of right here. I mean, I know this is zoomed out a little bit, but it's still pretty close to Mexico. So I would still expect some wave action for you guys. I might even take a look at that towards the end of the video. Better look at the waves. All right. And then it does kind of weaken. And then after early Monday morning, you see by Tuesday afternoon, I mean, it's basically nothing at that point. So you can see it's going to be very brief, either a depression, tropical depression, or tropical storm, and then kind of like start to taper away. All right. So here, this is the loop from right now for the cyclonic vorticity signature. And you can see there's a decent amount of energy there. It's just a matter of it becoming organized. All right. As you can see, look at the energy. Look how it becomes more circular. And we even see a little area of purple come up right about here. So that's some more intense energy. This is like Sunday afternoon. And then by early Monday morning, again, you can continue to see that it the area of energy gets a little smaller. It's becoming more compact. But the energy itself is also getting a little bit stronger. And that's what's leading to that. That's what the strengthening is doing. This storm is packing itself to get a little tighter. And then by early Wednesday, you can see by Wednesday morning, afternoon, there's really not much left of this thing. I think one reason for this is going to be the higher wind shear. Once it makes its way farther west, it's going to be some slightly cooler waters, and that's really going to put a dent in this thing. I checked. There's really nothing on the Atlantic side yet. No, nothing for the next 5 days for the Atlantic side. But on the Pacific side, we do have our first system of the year. All right, so here's the GFS model. Still with the same model, but we're talking about sustained winds this time. All right, and let's actually give this a little refresh here. And as you can see here, with the latest scans coming in, you can see a little more. What am I looking for? A little compact, a little more organized than it was before, but no greens on the map. And green is your tropical storm force winds. All right, so I do think there is a chance. I think it will probably happen overnight Sunday in through Mondays. So you might even wake up Monday or have lunch on Monday, and it might not even be a depression or storm anymore. All right, but this is still, all right, this is still going to be developing, and it's going to be moving along the Mexico coast. And don't expect there to be no impacts. I think there could be some minimal impacts for the islands here. The couple of islands that are off the coast of Mexico, if you can't see them, they're right here. And I do think some wave action, no precipitation, but wave action could be expected along Mexico's western coast here. All right, so if we look at the, let me pull up this. This is the wind shear map, and you can see from where it is right now, it's in an area of average to slightly below average shear, which is good for development right now. But again, you can see once it moves northwest into this area where it's above average shear, that's bad news. All right, and that's why, and you can see the shear in knots, right? It's kind of like 20 or 30 knots within here, right? But then if you go a little bit further west, it goes up 50, 60 knots, and that's really bad. That's going to tear the storm apart. And especially like if this thing was a Cat 5 hurricane, it could handle the shear a little bit better. When it's a very weak, not even tropical storm like system, yeah, and that's when it really can't handle the shear. All right, so I see shear anomalies. The actual wind shear itself right now, as you can see, the storm is kind of right in here. It's in an area of slightly less shear, I will say that. All right, but as we move forward, right, look at what happens to the storm. Look what happens by even early Monday. It's really not protected anymore. We already have shear kind of cutting off the system by early Monday. All right, and like I said, overnight Sunday to Monday, or Monday morning might have one more chance. All right, and then by Tuesday, the storm just got cut off by shear already by Tuesday. So it's probably its last chances are today, Sunday, and Monday. All right, so next model we have is the Canadian model. So let's take a look at the Canadian model. Latest 12Z model run here. As you can see, GFS had to get it down to about 1,003, 1,004 millibars of pressure. Canadian so far looks like 1,006. All right, if we continue on here, looks like it's about as strong as it's going to get. Again, right around that early Monday time frame, right? Monday morning. So that's when I think it could happen, like tomorrow or Monday, is when the best chances of the storm developing. If we look at the cyclone vorticity signature, you can see, look at the reds, look at the pinks. It's a small, compact system. Now, here's the thing with small systems, though. This is what you have to pay attention to. Small systems can strengthen faster, right? But they can also weaken a lot faster. So that's the thing with smaller size tropical cyclones. They can strengthen very quickly and they can die very quickly, all dependent on the conditions, right? Because the surface area of the storm is a lot smaller, right? So if it was a bigger system, right? I mean, it would take a while for the conditions around it to like, kind of like soak in, if you will. So it would take longer, or it would take longer for the system to strengthen and longer for it to weaken. But this strengthens quick and weakens quick. So it could be a storm before we know it. So that's what we have to watch out for, right? If it gets just the right conditions, this could develop pretty quickly. All right, so here you are, Monday afternoon. Still, I mean, still decently. It is still small. We got some reds, right? So some decent vorticity signature, and it's still circular. But after Monday afternoon and through Tuesday, and into Wednesday, it's already fading away. All right. And if we look at the gem model, the surface winds here, really not looking like tropical storm. I would say tropical depression status. Also, if the shear does become a problem, we could also see a subtropical system develop, right? Where it's like half regular low pressure, half tropical system. So that could also be a possibility. Although it doesn't happen in the Pacific too often, certainly has and can still happen. So we could see a subtropical system develop as well. If we look at the shear anomalies for the Canadian model, you can see right about here. All right, so we're in an area of average to slightly above average shear. But again, once it moves farther north and west, it's going to be in that area of high shear, or very far above average, I should say. And that's going to be really bad for the system. All right. And then if you look at the actual shear for right now, you can see, if we go to fast forward to Monday, you can see, look at where the low is, right? And you can literally see the shear. It's already like just taking all the clouds away from the storm, right? All the moisture is all getting flung away. So that's the thing too. If the shear does get high enough, we could see some of the precipitation, if you will, could be flung all the way to the Mexico coastline. We'll see. But as of right now, the Mexico coastline shouldn't really expect more than waves. Maybe a brief shower if you're lucky, but that might not even be related to this system. But a brief shower. But because that shear picking up the clouds and throwing them towards the east, it's a possibility. But right now, expect some waves along Mexico's coastline. All right, let's go take a look at our last model. Now, I like the HWRF because it's a very good like intensity forecast model. All right, so we're going to take a look at the HWRF. So this is pretty much right about now, and you can see, I would say from the satellite imagery that you see here, I would say this is pretty darn accurate, right? You got the low sitting here, and you got most of the precipitation is off to the east, even though there are some storms trying to blossom near and around the center. Now, if we go a little bit into the future, however, you can see, look at the precipitation just blossom, right? We got some bands of showers and storms here. We got some big area of storms near the center. This is by Sunday morning, right? And look at the pressure go down, 1,002. Not only that, but we're starting to see some circles form around it, which means those pressure isolines are getting even closer together, all right? So that is definitely looking like, and then even, you can even see on the back side, right? Like, look at the back side. You got a whole area of precipitation there as well. Little tail end on the southern side. So this looks pretty organized, all right, in through Sunday, later Sunday. Pressure could go as low as 1,002 millibars, all right? And then by Monday morning, look, we're down to 1,001. All right, even though the precipitation doesn't look quite as impressive, we still got wraparound on the east side. All right, and I think that's as low as the pressure gets, and the storm is kind of on its way out of here. So, in terms of surface wind, let's look at surface wind here. All right, and you can see on the top right of your screen what the maximum wind value is. So we'll be able to see it. We'll be able to tell. All right, so as we go into the future, let's go right here. All right, and you can see, look at the greens. Look at the greens on the map, right? Look at our max winds, 46 knots. That's a 50-mile-an-hour tropical storm. All right, by the time we had this Sunday morning. Now, is that a little overkill to me? I think a little bit. But it definitely does tell you that a tropical storm could be on our hands, right? Like, look at Monday. I would take these couple of frames a little bit more seriously, right? Weak tropical storm, I would expect that by Monday, all right? And then Monday morning, Monday afternoon, 40 knots, and then it starts weakening through the day Monday. I would call that pretty accurate. All right, so that's what we're going to be expecting here. Surface winds could get upwards of 40, 50 miles an hour at best. All right, but this could impact the islands just west of Mexico. And again, we could see some waves closer to the mainland of Mexico. We could see some bigger waves at times. All right, so last map before we go here. If you take a look at the wave heights, now good thing is, looks like that the bigger waves, the 6 to 8 foot waves, will be staying with the system. This is the European model, by the way. If we look at the waves here, should be staying overall with the system itself, but still could generate, like, we still got some 5 foot waves, 3 to 5 foot waves coming for places like Manzanillo, all right, and then down to Acapulco. So we could still see some pretty decent waves, but I think that the biggest waves, like the 6 to 6, 8, even close to 9 foot waves, will be with the system itself, all right? Sea surface temperature according to the European model, look how warm it is out here, 84, 85, right? This is some pretty warm water, so it's definitely got a lot of room to develop. It's the question is, will the wind shear be the problem? All right, so again, wave heights, few feet, but biggest waves, 9 foot waves, will be out near the system, so that's good news. But still, be on the lookout if you live on Mexico's western coast. Could still see some bigger waves at times. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's good to be back. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time, I will catch you guys in the next video.